Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co host, Dennis O'Brien, and boy, do we have a special guest for you this evening. We have Denny Gates, who is our sponsor of our show, but also a wonderful businessman here in this part of the state. And we're just very pleased to have him here because he has so much information that we're going to be able to share with you about so many different things because he does a lot of different things. Right, Dennis?
I just reminded Denny. He comes on about. We try to get him on once a year to update the auto industry and whatever else he wants to talk about,
Right.
and some of the charity work you're involved in, which is also impressive. But I just reminded him that Gates, he and his dad and whoever else have been sponsoring our show. Let's talk about it for more than 25 years.
That's a long.
That is a
long
long. That's a
time.
long gig.
That's a lot of talking.
That's a lot of talking.
Yeah, we do
It's
chat
a
all
lot
the
of
time.
talking, and every once in a while you come in and you help us out with the talking part, as well as the sponsoring. And we want to thank you on the air for that, you and your dad. And I gotta tell this other story. I remember, one of the first times we had you on the air more than 10 years ago, at least, on this show. I mentioned to you, I thought your ads were so great, your TV ads especially, the ones that, on it used to be Charter, now it's Spectrum, okay. You reminded me, those Spectrum ads are great, okay. And I mentioned to you, I said, gee, you got to get Craig on those ads with you. The two of you guys would complement each other well. And I happened to, about a week after you were on the show, and I hardly ever run into your dad. I hardly ever run into him, but I ran into him in a supermarket. And I told him, I said, Craig, you really ought to get on the show with Denny. I said, I think it would be doubly good. And he did. I'm not saying he did it because I mentioned it to him, but I'll tell you, the ads are great. I love them. They're the best ads on television. I would much rather watch Craig and Denny Gates and maybe a goat or a boat or something once in a while, and instead of watching Morgan and Morgan, all those lawyer ads, that are telling you we only get paid if you win. Of course, that's how it works.
That would be the law.
That's true for every lawyer. That's nothing special
That's
about
the law.
it. That annoys the hell out of me. At least when I watch your ads, there's always something new. There's a lot of comedy and humor, and I love the humor. You guys are funny.
Well, we're watching you guys too. Everybody that's watching the commercial, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so in that group of two, I would say that your dad is the straight man. right. Well, I got it wrong. That's not true. Maybe out of the
This
studio.
This is good.
But in our group here, I am the straight man, and she's the comedian.
No comment.
All right.
I would think you're accurate in your assessment.
Please pass on to Craig Gates because I haven't seen him in years. How much we appreciate
I will.
the sponsoring of this show because we got a lot to say. Our guests have a lot to say. In fact, I always say the guests make the show. We are able to get great guests. They teach me all kinds of things. Like you and Susan both teach me about cars because I don't know that much. And I just love the show because it's a great outlet it's a great way to inform the public about information that they should know that they're not getting anywhere else.
That's good.
I like that.
Real
I like
talk.
that statement.
Yep,
I did pretty good on that one.
I like that one.
Okay, so how you been?
I've been just peachy. How about you?
Well, I don't like winter very much, and I'm not looking forward to the snow.
Yeah, that's not. I'm
I'm a spring and summer kind of guy.
As a car guy, I wanted to start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, right.
And I also want to take anybody out there that's listening is more than welcome to come down and unshovel about 2,000 cars on Monday.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
You can come on out and get a free test drive about 15 feet. You can move that car. We'll plow behind you. You can put it back.
All right, you heard it.
No charge.
You heard it,
Very
folks.
nice.
There's the offer.
All right. Very good.
There's the offer.
Come
Great
and buy
offer.
one. Come and buy one tomorrow. We'll give you a hell of a deal because we don't want to plow around it on Monday.
Right.
Very
It's
good.
sort of like our driveway. We have
Overnight test drives are really hot commodity this weekend. Take it with you.
we have 3 vehicles in
If you don't like it, bring it back. Just no snow.
our driveway is full
there's
of
a good idea.
our driveway is full of stuff that Susan put in there, and our garage rather. So our three vehicles,
don't
they're
think
all
it's-
purchased from.
I don't think
our-
you can blame me for what's in the garage.
No,
We're not
I'm
gonna
just
have
there. I'm
this,
trying to be funny.
discussion that's
Yeah,
not-
they're you're supporters for more than 25 years of us. How's that?
Well,
I
we're-
guarantee that's the
We're
case.
good customers, and it's
Yep.
paid off for us. We've had great cars. In fact, unfortunately, we lost two of them to a tree, and then we had to buy some more.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the insurance came through and helped us out.
Keep those trees.
Yeah, well,
Oh, the
trees
trees
are
falling down.
trees
huh?
are a mixed bag, just like everything
Keep
else.
parking where you're parking.
Yeah, right. Oh, you're good.
Sorry, I'll stop.
Oh, you're on a roll. You're good, man. That's good.
It's Friday.
At first, I thought that was subtle, but it wasn't. It's just that I needed, I needed to catch up.
That's right.
Anyway, so all right, so you're doing well, and of course, we Susan, you and Susan have talked before about what you
Yeah.
want to do on the show. So I'm gonna shut up for a while, which is
really?
happens every show.
Oh, my
I go
God.
off for half an hour. You don't hear me. And then, okay, then we
Your
got
eyes are
all right,
shining, honey.
Susan, you and Denny have decided what you want to talk about today.
Well,
I'll
we're
chime in as necessary.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for the amazing work that you do here in the region with the car dealerships. It's really great for the economy here, and it's great for the people here who have jobs, great jobs, and great opportunities for all different types of things. So having all the levels of different employment and business with car dealerships is very, very important. And I know that this is something that I really feel very strongly about for our region.
I appreciate it.
So
Well,
I
I-
wanted
you
to
know, I-
tell you a little bit more about, the businesses here and how the contributions that your different businesses, your different car dealerships are making to the local region.
I think when you said one thing that comes to mind that I haven't talked about in a long time, but we've been in business for 40 years, and the businesses that we do own have been around for longer. We've never had a layoff situation. We've always, in 40 years, we've always continued to grow our personnel, which is important to us, and our offerings, and hopefully our profits. But the biggest thing for us is, you're not going to go 40 years and always have a better day or a better year than you had prior. But I think for us as a small business, we've taken it very seriously, is just being able to maintain the good customer service through great people. And that's not like that's not a gimmick. That's what we do every day. And, we work with great people, and that's our life.
Yes, you do. I mean, I know whenever we've had an issue with cars, we always go in. Everybody takes it very seriously. They work on the issues, and it's very much appreciated to have that and have people, believe what you're telling them and that sort of thing. And it's a very big help.
Our
So, yes.
standards are high for the people that we are able to work with, who we employ or who we work aside of. Our standards are high, and we've never deviated from that. And I think that is what gives us the ability to continue to grow. And the growth, you don't see it in a day. You see it over years of time.
Yeah.
You look back and you don't realize how much it's grown. You think, I remember when we had 3 bays, and they were, if you remember, they were all pits. You used to walk down into them.
Sure.
And anybody listening remembers Ray's Oil. Remember Ray's Oil? So behind Gates was an oil, like a, what do you call it? Like an oil receptacle or oil transfer tank. And when we first bought the place, there was 2 gas pumps up front. And Ray's Oil had the deal was that Ray's Oil could leave their vehicles in, their trucks inside at night. So we didn't, we had no lifts. We had to drive in with the pit. And I remember, we'd have to have our work out, and we didn't, because they could park their trucks in at night. So it's just, I remember how it started.
Right.
Sure. And I know a lot how much Speedy Dry I swept up in those periods of time and how we got to where it was. We started with like an international wrecker, which was a hoist, like a boom lift. And I remember it was a big day when we were able to upgrade to like a decommissioned state of Connecticut truck that was a boom lift on like a 1-ton truck. It was a little more nimble. It wasn't, you didn't have to do a 32-point turn to turn it around.
Right.
But even that, like I remember when we got our first roll off, like just roll back, like little things that I tell people when I work with them, where we started and how now we have every tool, we have the things, we have climate controlled shops, we have different things that the industry may not have now. But I remember when we started off so far behind. We started, couple of generations back, from our competitors.
Sure.
We didn't have anything.
Right.
And so it's nice to see us be where we are today.
So one of the things I wanted to, mention also is the change in the actual cars in the last 40 years. I mean, 40 years ago, it was just gas-operated cars. Hybrids were not really a thing at all. They did try to do them back in the 40s, and the oil industry came in and says, you don't need to do that. We'll just go with gas and oil. And, to think that they had this technology, just for example, the straight hybrid with a braking, regenerative braking. I mean, you don't really need much of a battery for that. And it was something they could have done ages and ages ago, but the industry didn't start doing it until, 2000 or so?
Yeah, so the last 4 or 5 years have been quite a year-over-year change.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of progression.
Right.
In the technology. And then it's funny because I say all the time, you need a salesperson, a helper, whatever you want to call that person. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I don't think they're salespeople today. They're like product and specialists, right? Like they just have to know the product. And you need them more today than you did 20 years ago.
Oh,
because
yes.
The application to what you're trying to do, and so many times people come in thinking one thing, and it actually something else works better.
Yeah.
You used to look at a different model. You used to look at, do I want a Jeep Wrangler? Do I want a GMC pickup or what? You used to kind of have those basic thoughts, right? Now it's underneath that one, like Wrangler, there's 4 different models of motors, rather, not trim. Used to be, what do I want, and do I want leather or not?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now
so
it's
they used to say, I'll have a V8 or a V6 or a 4-cylinder. And then things started to change in terms of, a lot of them are no longer V8s. People don't want a V8 because they have more power with even the 4-cylinders and the regenerative power systems, those engines, and I can't even articulate.
Even naturally aspirated turbos, and those.
There you go.
Those are just they're fun.
Yeah. I'm just saying, and you're just saying.
Yeah, I mean
that's impressive.
It's just even hybrid or electric, just the technology within that combustible motor, like that ICE motor.
Yes.
That it's just it blows my mind.
Mine as well.
It just the things of today. It's very interesting.
It is.
And it's super cool to see where we're going. Mm-hmm, and it just
And it seems to have taken place of what they used to call the brain, and now it's incorporated somewhat into the motor.
I remember when we had Lincoln years ago, and when those Lincolns had when they had air ride suspension came out and all these factors, you'd see these cars driving down the road like this, they had faulty parts. We all have always had faulty success. There's always been things that as they've been used, they don't work as well. I just remember those all the different little air little air compressors or the little computer systems that were all scattered along the vehicles. And now today it's like you said, it's a mainframe, a brain, and there's the screen, and that's that screen's just a faulty screen, and then the rest of it is all happening. It's just so interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's something that I think is a great wave into the future, and with all the technology, people are going to be adjusting to how these things
and all that.
how these things work.
I have a question. You said, Denny, that changes every year. What are the latest changes since you were here last year?
The industry or the product?
Everything. The industry. The industry to me, based on what I read today, because I like to prepare for the shows, and I don't know as much about the automotive industry. Certainly not as you, and not even as much as Susan. But it seems to the auto industry seems to have had a good year in 2025, tailing off a little bit at the end in terms of sales.
Yeah, and I think it's, I look at the, I've learned that the end the reports, the fourth quarter, first quarter.
Yep.
You look at these things, and I don't know if it's always an economic thing, because I don't think it is. It's a timing thing. When's the holiday fall? When does the end of year go? It's more of just people living their life thing. So you'll see a drop off like the way the end of the year was.
Yeah.
Like you might not see it catch up till January. We're going to have some weather in the Northeast, and that's a big part of the market. It drives the whole, it really drives a lot of the national look. So you see those things in the weather. Like you're going to see, my prediction is you're going to see this massive spring, massive second quarter that's going to be hard to keep up with the industry and very hard to buy a car as a consumer, because you're probably, with the weather this month of January and storms falling on a Monday, you're going to have a lack of sales in the month of January. It's just going to happen. But if you look at it annualized, it's going to be no different than what it would have been. But there's going to be like a big, like you'll see pockets like towards the end of the month. If the weather's good, you'll see a big push. It'll fatigue the market a little bit, and then February, if we, depending on the weather, but then once you get through this weather pattern, and I've seen this so many times, you're gonna see a rush, and I think it's gonna be attributed to taxes. I can't say that it's gonna be. I don't believe it's the tax returns that are gonna do it, but it may time out
They
to
say
be.
that, yeah.
No, but I don't think it's gonna be that. I think it's gonna be from my perspective, it's weather, and when the weather starts to trim out, you're just gonna see more buyers in the market. I mean, let's be honest. It's not the most ideal situation, pending snowstorm, to go out and buy your brand new car.
Of course.
I don't think so.
Doesn't necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because I want you to all come, and I think it's the best day in the world for you to buy.
Right.
But no, but I do just know reality, and then you're gonna add on the tax returns on top of it, and then you're just gonna have such a frenzy. So, like I was saying to all the people in the industry, just put March 30th on your calendar, March 20th. Right before you go into the second quarter. And I think it's going to turn on then, and it's going to be a wild show for the whole, right into the summer. I think you're just going to be running very hard if you're in the industry.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be, I think right now is a great time to buy, because I think it's going to be, it's like the ticket to the show. How many seats are in the, and I think that's going to be a little bit exhausted this year more than the past years. We haven't had the weather.
Right. Well, what about at the end of the year? I mean, sometimes the bargains for, say, a 2025 car are really in a good spot right now to go out and purchase a 2025 car.
And that was, you bring a great point. This was the first year in a long time that I saw some of the deals come back in pretty good order. In the last, I hate the word, but the new norm, like the post-COVID run, there was still a shortage of supply and what else? Not just supply of the car, but supply the components were still the issue. So I think that this was the first year I saw pockets of zero, pockets of big rebates that I just haven't seen in a long time. And I think that there's production that's caught up, which is a good thing. And it's a good thing for the consumer.
Oh, yeah.
Because the deals are worth, it's worth their attention. And I think as we see, like, any little adjustment that we've seen in the Fed over the last couple of years has affected those rates. And then it changes residuals. And it changes money factors. Residuals are still high, so leasing's really good still. And those are it's just, I think it's a good time to buy a car.
Yeah, I think that you mentioned the Fed as well. The interest rates are going down, and that's another aspect of the combination of a good deal for a 2025 car and a low interest rate is a good combination.
Rates and supply.
Yes.
That kind of works out well.
Yeah, exactly. And so let me ask you, in terms of hybrid versus plug-in hybrid or just a plug-in, I mean, I went through a training a year or so ago on the lithium batteries, and what's your take on the differences?
So, I have a lithium battery in my golf car.
And
it's a great addition. I upgraded. I had a golf car with the regular battery with the lithium, a little
yeah.
better range, a little faster.
Yeah.
But I think we're at a point now where all the technology, and there was times where I could say I wasn't a fan of certain technologies yet. We have good range on all electric. We have phenomenal hybrid. I love, and you and I have talked about it on the air and off the air.
Yep.
About hybrid being a really good market, right? And I see
I agree.
It's
completely.
going there in a great fashion.
Yes.
That makes me super excited. And the other thing that I really like is just these efficient motors in the ice. Like, I drive a pickup. I happen to drive a Ram pickup, but I drive a pickup. And that truck, I have this, it's called a Hurricane motor. It's a 6 with a naturally aspirated twin turbo. I mean, unbelievable. The truck whispers. And as I hate to date myself, but as you get a little older, it's not the rumble that you're also like that noisy motor. Like, I used to love that. Now I'm looking for a good radial.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
nice suspension.
I gotta say, for everybody out there, I'm sure you're looking at me saying he's still younger than somebody, but I gotta tell you, I'm like,
yeah, you're younger than me anyway.
But
The
I'm
male
saying,
host of the show.
I want a good,
lot younger.
I want a good ride. I look at big wheels sometimes. I'm like, wow, I don't know if it's gonna have a good ride. So I'm switching over. I'm coming over the other side. But I look at things like that quiet cabin, the ride it gives, the responsiveness, the fuel economy, but the power at the top end. That's what a lot of these new motors have, is top end power.
Yes, they do.
And then when you pair them with an electric or a hybrid, you get the bottom end. So you get the best.
Yeah.
And it's just insane because you can't. I don't think you can go wrong. There's something out there for anybody's driving style, which I don't think it was like that. It used to be a transmission, bigger transmission,
right?
Yep,
and that was it. And now we don't see that.
No. The power and the ability to make sure that you can move in good spots and that sort of thing. Also, the suspension. I think that the suspension of the newer vehicles is really good. So the bumps that you happen to go over and those kinds of things are really braced much more evenly than maybe cars back in the day.
And you asked a question, but I'll answer it a different way. You talk about electric vehicles for a second.
Yeah.
So that was not too long ago. That was a very an area of gray, right?
Yeah,
in the industry, consumers, and what their sentiment was towards it. The interesting thing now is, and I was actually saying this to a coworker a couple days ago, is that you have an actual market. Right, you have a consumer of that market, but you also have an industry built for it. But now you have enough electric out there where this goes back to the old days. You've got makes and models out there that the consumer is not even considering. Meaning, there's so much more that they might not even know it exists. Like, I come to mind, one of the first electric vehicles that was as a production vehicle was a Nissan Leaf. That vehicle still exists today.
I can still remember you coming on the show maybe 10, 12 years ago and telling us about the Leaf, and it was the first I had heard of it.
And it's still out there today, and its range is in the 300s, and its price point is unbelievably low. And that vehicle sells. It's not the biggest volume. You don't hear about it every day, but it's a heck of a value. And it's like, that car exists. It was a trendsetter. It exists still. And then you think about all the other ones that you hear about. And it's like, wow, there's a lot of production out there in that category that you would never even consider.
That's right.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting, and it shows that people are open to the idea of different types of vehicles, and that they like the idea of the electric, and you can set it up and plug it in at your house, and that's a very good thing.
And it's cool because you see the market change a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it used to be, when those new technologies, it's the engineer-minded person comes in first, right? They know more than you as the salesperson. Now you've got everybody coming in saying, I want to try that out. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
Or I think I want that. And it's kind of fun because it's years later after the production of these vehicles, but you get to have fun because you actually know enough. I hate to say it, but you're actually like, oh, I can tell you about that because it was so new and it came so fast. But,
yeah,
it's cool.
Very, very cool. Well, we are ready for a break to hear from our sponsors, and we have our sponsor here on the show with us, but we will be right back after these messages. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and our very special guest this evening, Denny Gates. Welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and our very special guest, Denny Gates, who does absolutely fabulous work here in this region with respect to the car business. And we are now, I want to talk a little bit more about car business. I've finished up with things maybe you want to share with us before we go into some of the great work that you do to help the children, your foundation work, helping students that have special needs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, so I can go backwards. I have a big affinity for people with special needs. I've done some work with ARC. I've done some work.
Say what ARC is, please.
Well, I mean, for most people that don't, do you know what it is?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, you could. I want you to give the answer if you know, because I'll probably botch it. But they're a local community-based organization that works with people with learning or disabilities that try to keep them productive in society, I guess, and work with jobs, work programs. So I've done some work with that on both an employer level, but also with the cause, and done some campaigning with them and working with them and helping out strategy-wise. But I do also like to work with people that are within the public systems. That like I do some work with the town of Wyndham in regards to their they have programs for people. They have different names like Phoenix Academy and stuff, and I try to work with supplying a property but at a discounted rate, and I get involved in the program a little bit, and I just try to be available and try to help out. And then we do a lot with Little League with supporting the programs at every level.
Yeah, you sponsor several teams, I think.
Yeah, we'll sponsor whatever teams we can, and then we kind of like to underwrite it. So we'll take it all, and then whatever anybody else wants to do, we'll do. So
when I was still with Little League, and I'm not anymore because of my arthritis in my knees, and it makes it harder for me to coach. And I did more than 3 decades there anyway. And I was there when you threw out the first pitch.
Yeah.
And you did a great job.
It was probably my second time throwing.
I called it a split finger fastball. It looked like it dropped right at the end. Came in real fast and then boom, it shot down.
I was just surprised it didn't drop 2 inches, but
I was right there behind home plate. I saw the whole thing.
But I mean, and I've always been a big part of Make-A-Wish. In Connecticut, we brought a lot of wishes to northeastern Connecticut. Big part of my legacy with the organization. I was on the board for many years, and I've been able to do a lot of great. I've been able to with the partnership of my staff, with my family and friends, and most importantly, with some people that were very generous from my ask. We were able to produce a very large sum of money over the years that is bookmarked for this region, because we do get lost as in the state of Connecticut's eyes a little bit sometimes. There's a lot of action in other areas, and being a northeastern Connecticut person, you're lucky you don't have to go other places because you have what you need and it's a really great life here.
Right.
But there are other parts of Connecticut that don't feel at all like northeastern Connecticut.
Oh yeah.
You wake up in the morning here and you think this is what Connecticut feels like, and you don't realize that you could drive 2 hours away from here and it's not even the same. It doesn't even feel like the same state.
There's a lot of diversity in that regard.
Yeah.
Not just economic or whatever, or ethnically,
yeah.
But there's a lot of diversity in terms of the way each town is different, and each region is certainly different.
I mean that southern that southwest area of Connecticut is not Connecticut. I mean, it's Connecticut.
Well, it's different.
But I should just say it. There's a lot of support there. They have a lot of resources that we might not have.
Right.
And so that was a big passion of mine. I worked on it for 10 years, and I felt good leaving the board. I'm a very big active member and donator to the cause and do a lot. But for me, my whole mission was to produce results for the Northeast corner. And we have a phenomenal setup here now and resources with that organization that we were able to fund in perpetuity. So there's never, I can look at you and say, I know for the 10 years from now and 20 years from now, that the work we did is going to continue on in this area of the state, and that's the kind of business that we like to do. We want to nail it down and make sure it doesn't go anywhere, and that's a big commitment. And that's the same thing with our foundation with Jolly Johns, which is something that my father and I started, and we have, again, the people that I work with are phenomenal.
I just want to say how much I appreciate that, because for years we in the state of Connecticut haven't really fully done what we're supposed to do with our special needs students in the public and in the private sector. And I think part of it was because we didn't have a full understanding of neurological issues. And I think now we have a better understanding of people's neurology than we've ever had.
Yep.
And for those reasons, it's really important for us to make sure we create policy and opportunities for people people, for students that have different ways of processing information. And it's really very, very important for us to be able to do that and give the support to the people as they grow so they can participate in the economy, so that they can do all kinds of things and not be moved off, but be participating. And that is feeling part of the group and all of those kinds of things. And I've been very, very happy to be able to create the Select Committee on Special Education at the Capitol and work on that committee. And we have increased funding for all the school systems all throughout the state. But it's something that's an ongoing thing, and we have a lot more to do. But I'm just so appreciative of what you're doing. It's a fabulous thing that you've taken on that initiative.
One reason why it's important is because what you do, people become aware of it, and it makes them, focus on the same kinds of issues in different ways. So that these people who are not so fortunate as to have, be close to perfection. Nobody's close to perfection, but they have difficulties, special difficulties, educationally or otherwise, economically, employment-wise. More attention is being paid to certain types of afflictions. For example, autism. And I work with local police and fire departments on the taxing district board here, and what they're doing in terms of dealing with, they might have to go out and somebody's behaving kind of strange, and then all of a sudden they realize it maybe because there's a reason for it, maybe autism or something else, and they're having training on that. The police and fire departments have had social workers working with them, and people are becoming more aware of the need to help people who are in need in that regard. And I think what you did, you were on the you were started a long time ago. It gets publicity, and people understand, the plight of these people and how much they need help. And it's going all over. The towns are working with it.
And it's not I hate to use this word, but it's not a sexy thing. There's a lot of things that people get involved in that are, easy to be involved in. But when you're involved in things that are difficult, that have a lot of roadblock, that have a lot of lack of knowledge. I mean, I'm not going to say that this is really, you could be saying that, but I mean, when you're dealing with things that require patience, understanding, kindness, empathy, and perseverance, because if you want to help somebody in different situations, you've got to be all those things. And those are the ground root things that and in certain things like this, what you're talking about is that that can't just be the helper. Like, when you do Make-A-Wish is a great example. There's a child, there's a person giving the wish, there's a family, there's a whole system. And there's a lot that goes on right here. Like 95% of it happens right there. Mm-hmm. When in the situation you're talking about with special needs and working on programs, there's, the 95 percentile is like, it's all of the whole spectrum. Like, Make-A-Wish pretty simple. We get money. Yeah. And Make Awareness get money, and we put it to the cause. Boom. And the people here do all the work. The people at that level do all the work. With what you're doing, the advocacy is here, the work is here, and in between is a ton of, I can't use those words on this program, but it's a ton of stuff.
Well, it is. It's
a hard job everywhere.
It's a range. Thing. It's a whole range of different types of behavior, different types of processing, and trying to and getting trained and making sure that our teachers have the training to cover the range of different styles of learning and different styles of behavior based on so many different things, whether it's somebody with multiple languages, the home language is in English, somebody with dyslexia with processing, different types of processing. Dyslexia, the processing is different in every brain. It's a different type of processing. Or you've got behavioral post-traumatic stress disorder, children that here in this district we have numerous children that are in poverty, end up homeless, and that creates trauma which interferes with learning. And so there's the trauma of having that kind of situation.
That fight or flight mentality on a continual basis.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so the idea that whatever brought them to the homeless situation, whether it was domestic violence or death or illness, could have caused these kinds of problems. They have that plus needing a place to be that's home. And so there's a lot of different things that impact how a child learns. And having places like Wyndham that are great opening places for people, and provide support for people, yet have these problems in the school system. We really need to make sure that places like Wyndham, places like Hartford, Bridgeport, Waterbury, New Haven, that provide the resources for people, actually provide the actual support that the students need as well.
Everybody needs to be loved and respected. And these kinds of programs, the kind of program that you've been involved in for so many years, it not only provides certain types of maybe techniques and stuff, learning techniques, and helps them with their learning, but it shows them that they're loved and they're respected. And that is everybody needs that. That's a basic need.
And that's a thing that you want to bring into your workplace. Like being a small business, the beauty of it is you get to be in a personal relationship. Yeah, there's the rules of the engagement of the state laws, and there's this and that, and then there's running a business.
Yeah.
And that's where you get that's why I like to be a business owner, is because I get to use those skills and resources, because every employee's different. Every employee's got their own struggles, and finding it out and connecting with them. Same thing with their families. Everybody has these concerns in their family. It's not exclusive to a certain type of person. And that's why I think every day is a great day to work with the people, to help them out. I mean, if you can't go through a day as a person and help somebody, hold the door, do something great.
You're right.
And if it's your, I don't know, it's your job to, as a person, wherever capacity you have to give or help, you continue to do that. And I think that's whatever that means, whether it means money, time, if you're, or both, whatever it is. I think that's what makes people live a long, happy life.
You're right. In this day and age when people walk around with phones, especially young people, and they're watching, all these channels on TV that they can stream and stuff like that, there's a special need for us to interact more often, and to interact.
Put the phone in your pocket.
And to interact in a way that is positive.
Yep.
And shows respect for people, because people really need that. I mean, you talk about door opening. I come out. I go to swim at the Mansfield Community Center. And I have a little bit of a problem with ambulation because of my arthritis, and now I got a problem with my right foot that I'm going to attend to next week. And I come staggering out. Not staggering, but a little bit. You can tell I'm not walking the way I used to walk when I was 10 years ago. And somebody will hold the door for me, and I can feel a chill come down my spine, because I'm interacting with somebody in a good way. If I'm at a stoplight and I let somebody go, something like that, just being part of the community of human beings is just so important. That the Make-A-Wish Foundation, giving a wish, providing a child in tough circumstances with a wish like that, it's got to make that child know that he or she is not only being helped, but is being respected and loved.
And I got to touch on that for 1 second, because you opened the door for it. So, and I tell this to people individually, but the most impressive thing about Make-A-Wish isn't the child's wish, which is what the whole thing sounds like.
Yeah.
And that's like the smallest portion, right? That's the tip of that pencil.
Yeah.
What I know by doing what I've done, not just being a financial contributor, but being a volunteer, which in any charitable or organizational thing, doing things at an executive level is awesome. But doing things as a volunteer is awesomer, if that makes any sense. That's the most important part of anywhere. I don't care what we're talking about. And anyways, what I find, and it's very amazing, is these children are selfless. You have these ill children, and in a lot of cases, you have kids that there's one way they're going, and it's hopefully to that beautiful heaven. That's where they're going in some cases, right? A lot of cases. These people are remarkable. I mean, I think if I didn't find Make-A-Wish, I wouldn't be where I am today. Yeah. Because you have children that have an ending in near, some of them. And you know what? The hardest part of doing the wish is to figure out how to get the wish for them. Because it's always, they're trying to push that wish to their sibling, to their mother, to their father. They're trying to do what those people in their family want. How many times we do a wish and they're like, oh, I want a basketball hoop. And it's like, well, you're a little girl that is wearing pink ponytails and she has dolls. You don't want a basketball hoop. But it's because her brother does. No, I'm not saying, I'm saying like the whole situation doesn't add up. And it's these little awesome bundles of joy. They're always trying to give something to their family because they know the effort the families had to put into this situation.
Yeah.
It's the most unspoken part and most remarkable part about Make-A-Wish is these children are selfless, almost always selfless. If you can learn something from a 7-year-old that's selfless, as a 40-year-old, whatever, how do you not walk with a little extra, little extra mojo?
That's right.
There's a 7. They don't learn that. I have a 6-year-old and I have a 3-year-old, and I think they're wonderful humans, but there's a lot of selfishness at young age, right? It's developmental.
Well, we're hardwired to be selfish.
But when you meet these little
it's
guys,
part of the survival instinct.
there's no selfishness in these little ones.
But I think also too it speaks to the families, right? Because the families they feel the gift from the families and the connection.
Yeah, it's a special moment
from the mothers and the fathers and the siblings and the grandparents.
Yeah.
And they have all that support because everybody, when you have a child that's sick and in those circumstances, everybody comes around and tries to give that support. So I think that they feel it and they know how to give it back because they received it. They received so much of it, and having a Make-A-Wish Foundation it helps amplify that feeling for the family. It also makes people aware in the community that this is something that we all should be doing, and it's a great opportunity, a teaching opportunity. It's a great opportunity for volunteers. It's just a great thing that you do.
But that's why we started Jolly John's, and that's our local foundation. And it was because I saw that with Make-A-Wish. My dad and I were speaking. My cousin was sick. And he said, how can adults get sick? There's a thing for kids. How can adults afford to be sick as a parent, as a breadwinner, as a caregiver already?
Right.
They could be taking care of their family. And so that's why we started that. And it's a phenomenal organization for this market. And it's like if you're a productive, hardworking member of society and you get hit, there's really a big void. And there's other things out there, but it's so much work to get there. Yeah. So it's like, if they just need 2 or 3 deductibles, a copay, an elective, a big amount of money down for a shot that may not be covered under insurance, they need their mortgage paid or their electrical bill paid or oil, that's what our Jolly John's Foundation does. And every ounce that it's not 99 cents, it's 100% of the money we raise goes to the cause. And we've done well, and I've actually tried to say to my dad, we should hire somebody he goes, we're not hiring, it's 100%. And so, but all of the employees and some other amazing people give a ton of time.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
But I call it an adult Make-A-Wish. If you're a parent and you're in a hard spot and you're not able to produce and there's nothing to catch you, your wish right now when you're ill is all right, I got to keep the roof on over my head and my family's head, and I've got to pay some bills. And that's what, big part of what we do. We do that every day. It's not every week. It's not every year. It's every day.
That's phenomenal.
30% of our day is that.
And that is just what we're talking about here with the difficulties in society that we have. So to have that kind of a program to help families who have that kind of a loss, because it happens. I lost my father when I was 5. My brother was 5 months old, and it was quite a shock to my mother, who had to try and figure it out. Of course, he was able to. They already purchased the house, and he had all kinds of insurance and that sort of thing. So we were very, very lucky. But that's not always the case for people, especially with little children and so that's not really what always happens. But especially when you take a look at what you have somebody, he was a veteran, and the doctor said he probably became ill because of his service. He was at Pearl Harbor after the bombing. But, that's the kind of thing that there are all kinds of veterans. There are all kinds of people that are out there putting their lives on the line and different types of employment that they have, and things happen, and then the family is in a spot that it's very, very difficult to try and address.
Yeah, and we just try to be there for them.
It's a fabulous
You know,
thing
sometimes
that you
young
do.
people do get debilitating illnesses that are, either chronic or permanent or semi-permanent,
Right.
and they a breadwinner, or somebody, a mother who's working and raising children by herself. I mean, this can happen. And it's I fortunately stayed pretty darn healthy until today.
Oh, you're still pretty darn healthy.
Yeah, I'm pretty darn. I've been
You're
lucky.
still walking and talking.
Health-wise, but I know people that have got. I was a probate judge. I've seen people
Yeah.
pass away in
I've-
their 30s, and like
Yeah.
your dad. My dad died at 50. My
Yeah.
son died at 49. I mean,
Yeah.
it can happen, and every day is a gift. Every day is a gift.
We're
and,
working on it.
we should. That's why we. Our theme for the second half of the show is, be nice to people.
We're working on
Go out
that.
of your way to be nice to people.
Right before Chris. Oh, was this it?
1 minute.
Oh, well, I'll just say I'm kicking off for Mother's Day
Uh-huh.
a massive Mother's Day garden at Weil Hyundai. I planted it right before winter, so I'm going to give flowers away to any child that wants to give their mother Mother's Day flowers. I have this goal in mind. I started with 7,500 plants, 7,500 tulips, and I'm going to hopefully continue to grow it by that fashion.
Yeah.
My goal is to be very busy before Mother's Day because I think that's my next cause is just I want to give tribute to moms. I think
Oh.
this community out here has a lot of love for moms.
Excellent choice.
Thank you. Thank
Excellent
you so
choice.
much for your
I
amazing
don't-
work. You really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Mothers,
Thanks.
we wouldn't have a world without mothers.
Moms are the best.
Not just because of the biology, but because mothers they're the best. They are the best. No doubt about it.
10 seconds.
Okay, Denny, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
We could have talked another hour,
Yep.
but or two.
Yeah.
Anyway, great to have you here, and thanks again for your help with Let's Talk About It,
Thank you.
which I think is an important part of this community. And so does Susan, and so does Matt Rupar. And we'll be back next
Thank
week
you.
with another fabulous guest. Thank you so much, and thanks for listening.